You're driving down a deserted road, the GPS leading you further and further away from civilization. The trees seem to close in around you, casting long, ominous shadows on the ground. And then, you see it, a flickering street lamp, a car with the door open, and a figure slumped over the steering wheel. But as you get closer, you realize something is terribly wrong. The figure isn't sleeping, it's a crime scene, and you're the only one there to witness it. You're standing at the edge of a dense forest, the trees towering above you like sentinels. The air is heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. A faint mist rises from the ground, casting an eerie gloom over the landscape. As you step forward, the rustling of leaves beneath your feet is the only sound that breaks the silence. You've been warned not to stray from the path, but you can't shake the feeling that something is watching you from the shadows. And then, you stumble upon a clearing, and in the center of it, you see a car, its door open, and a figure slumped over the steering wheel. But as you approach, you realize that something is terribly wrong. The figure isn't sleeping, it's a crime scene, and you're the only one there to witness it. The victim's eyes are frozen in a permanent stare, their skin pale and clammy. You can feel the weight of the moment, the gravity of what you're witnessing. And as you stand there, frozen in horror, you can't help but wonder, what happened here, and who could have committed such a heinous crime? As you stand there, trying to process what you're seeing, you notice something strange. The victim's phone is lying on the ground, just a few feet away from the car. It's as if it was dropped in a hurry, or perhaps thrown away in a fit of rage. You can see the screen, still lit up, displaying a text message from an unknown number. The words send a chill down your spine, "You'll never find me." Suddenly, the darkness around you seems to closing in, and you realize that you're not alone. The killer might still be out there, watching you, waiting for you to make your next move. You feel a surge of adrenaline, and your heart starts racing as you wonder, what if the killer is still in the area, watching me? As the days go by, the investigation into the murder begins to unfold. Detectives are scouring the area, looking for any clues that might lead them to the killer. They're interviewing witnesses, analyzing evidence, and following up on leads. But as they dig deeper, they realize that nothing is as it seems. The victim had many secrets, and it appears that they were involved in some shady dealings. The detectives are faced with a complex web of lies and deceit, and they must navigate it carefully to uncover the truth. You're following the investigation, trying to piece together the evidence, and you start to notice some inconsistencies. The victim's alibi for the night of the murder doesn't add up, and there are rumors of a suspicious person seen in the area. You start to wonder, what if the victim was involved in something more sinister, and the killer was just a pawn in a larger game? As the investigation continues, a shocking twist emerges. The killer, it turns out, is not who anyone expected. It's someone who was close to the victim, someone who had a motive for the crime. But as the detectives dig deeper, they realize that the killer's motives are more complex than they initially thought. The killer had a troubled past, with a history of abuse and trauma. They were driven by a desire for revenge, but also by a need for control and power. You're trying to understand the killer's mindset, to get inside their head and understand what drove them to commit such a heinous crime. But as you delve deeper, you start to realize that the truth is more nuanced, more complicated than you ever could have imagined. You start to wonder, what if the killer is not just a monster, but a product of their environment, a victim of circumstance? As the news of the killer's arrest spreads, the community is left reeling. The victim's family and friends are trying to come to terms with what happened, and the killer's loved ones are struggling to understand how someone they knew could be capable of such a heinous crime. You're following the aftermath, trying to make sense of the chaos and destruction that has been left in the wake of the murder. You're trying to understand the impact on the community, and the long-term effects that this crime will have on the people involved. But as you watch the news and read the headlines, you can't help but wonder, what if this is not the end, but just the beginning? What if there are more victims out there, waiting to be discovered? As we stand here today, looking back on the events that transpired, we're left with more questions than answers. The killer is behind bars, but the truth about their motives and the events leading up to the crime are still shrouded in mystery. You're trying to piece together the evidence, to understand the complexities of the case, and to find some sense of closure. But as you delve deeper, you realize that the truth is complex, multifaceted, and often contradictory. You start to wonder, what if the truth is not just a single narrative, but a web of stories and perspectives, each one revealing a different aspect of the crime? What if the truth is not just about the killer, but about the community, the victim, and the society that we live in? As we conclude this journey into the heart of darkness, we're left with a haunting question. What if the truth is not just a single narrative, but a web of stories and perspectives, each one revealing a different aspect of the crime? Join us in the comments below, and share your theories and thoughts on the case. Like and subscribe for more true crime content, and follow us on social media to stay up to date on the latest developments. And as you walk away from this video, remember, the truth is out there, but it's often hidden in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered. Will you be the one to shed light on the darkness, or will you succumb to the darkness that surrounds us all?